Mark My Words Productions.
American cities and 4 countries. He has made 5 national television appearances, including Lyrics Cafe, No Reservations, and a skit for the Jimmy Kimmel Show. He has also graced the stages of many legendary venues, including the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. for President Obama's presidential inaugural peace ball, as well as Cyan Night at Not Scary Farm in front of 12,000 people. Everybody, please make some noise right now for Marc Marcel.
So good to be here, but you motherfuckers already know that because you live in Hawaii. Man. It's been a struggle. Trying to convince the one person I know I can't lie to that it's alright to feel like this. But I know it isn't. I know it's not. Honestly, I think I'm better at lying to God than I am myself. And the truth is, the more you deny it, the easier it gets. And the second you start contemplating your feelings, you've already started to slip. So it's probably a good thing that it's not something you first notice. Me, it wasn't the insomnia, the dark rooms, or the third time I did a line of coke, but it was just after I got off the microphone. Crowd still loud from the applause, but somehow I was bored. Thinking to myself, maybe I don't love it anymore. And how do you walk in the house and tell your spouse of over 10 years that you just don't look at it the same? So I've been trying to figure out ways if I can just walk away without having to own up to the situation. And maybe me reciting this is just too much information. I know people will hear this and be like, yo, he just needs a pep talk or something. But yo, I really don't need talk. More like something. I mean, the hate mail don't even get me excited anymore. It's just grown annoying. Pussies that have sent me emails calling me a nigga for something I say in one of my poems, but won't be brave enough to show up and say it in my face when I offer to put their names on their guest list of one of my next performances. Bitch, why don't you send me back to Africa? My father says I'm walking for death wish for me to talk like this. But I look at my father and be like, shit, you don't get it. If I didn't, I'd never be able to live with myself in the morning. Honestly, I'm tired of kicking the metaphors, tired of kicking the poems. I just want to get straight to the point like, fuck your religion. It has been the murderer of millions. And your priests have molested the innocence rate out of our children. Fuck your governments for betraying its people to fight its wars and turn its back on its constitution and went corporate. Fuck your banks for not caring when people are kicked out their homes. Fuck your border control. This land ain't yours. Fuck your passports. Fuck the white man. Fuck your black skin. Fuck any Hispanic or nationality that actually lives their day with thoughts so small of their own race and not the possibilities out there in outer space. Fuck Israel. Fuck Palestine. They haven't gotten it right yet. Fuck George Bush for causing the slaughter of over 5,000 American soldiers. He had a choice. They still haven't found WMDs. I mean, I thought that was his whole point. Fuck the international courts for not being brave enough to bring his asses up on charges of war crimes. Fuck the Quran, fuck the Bible, let's burn them both at the same time. Fuck people who are so stupid not to understand when I tell them I don't follow religion, just to believe I don't believe in God. Why are people so stupid? I often ask God. He hasn't given me a good answer yet. So in a dark place I find myself looking for answers. People may think it's depression, but honestly, it would be a blessing if I could just get back there. I never imagined there were so many levels deeper that you could slip, but I'm here. Please, your advice, the last thing I can bear to hear is some things you just gotta resolve on your own. Some things you just gotta own, but I'm at the point now, it's like, fuck it. I could care less what the world's got going on when I got so many demons of my own. Glad you're asleep, because it's gonna get a little explicit. Ladies, how y'all doing? Y'all doing good? Doing good. Yo, just to say, anything I say, like, this is a poem, I'm gonna mention some lines in here that, like, it has happened. Like, you don't have to wonder that. Like, it has happened. When I say I receive racist, like, hate mail, I receive it. Like, I'm not exaggerating. One thing I can't stand about poets is that they'll spit these fantasy poems and it really didn't even happen to them. Meaning, like, I don't mean like we know what fantasy is. Like if you're like, hey, you know, I was at NASA and they shot me up on a rocket ship and I went to Mars and then I saw some aliens. All right, we know you're exaggerating. We know that shit. Alright, but when you do something like, and I've had this happen to one of my friends, I had this, when he did something like, you know, he was like, you know, daddy, where were you? You left me when I was 10, I had to live on my own when I was 10, you know, then I had to sell crack when I was 14, found out my mother was selling her body when I was 16, and I've seen this happen, and he gets off stage and this chick comes up to him like, man, I'm so sorry you went through that, you know, my father left me too when I was young. He's like, oh, no, my dad's over there listening to me to do the wrong. I can't stand that shit. Instead of saying my daddy, you can say his daddy, or her daddy, or their daddy. For instance, like, I wrote this poem, and it was talking about getting high, Hawaii. I smoke a gang of marijuana, so when y'all legalize that shit like California, you'll see me a whole lot more. But anyway, like, it was talking about getting high in a cemetery by a gravesite with headphones on, writing a poem. And when I wrote the line, I was like, damn, that's a fresh ass line. But I didn't do that shit. So I had to go do that shit because I was keeping that line. But I ain't never been so afraid of crickets in my life, for real. Like, beep, oh shit, they're gonna fuck out of me. But no, so like everything I say is inspired by something that has happened to me, and this is something that has happened to me. She said she just doesn't want to ruin the experience. She said early that night, when we first met, she knew days of waiting for someone to understand it just came to an end. She said it wasn't so much my poems, I got to thinking that I wasn't like most men. She said afterwards, it was our conversation. Simply, I made her smile. And I don't want to ruin what we got brewing right now, so maybe we're just moving too fast. And she said all this while we were laying in bed with the lights dim, sheets wet, and the covers hanging off her ass. And as she said this, I noticed the puddle dripping on my fingertips and pulled back a few inches and replied, huh? I mean, you could have warned me at the door before you were butt-ass naked that you had the tendency to flake, and let's be real, you wouldn't be here in the same bed if you wouldn't be here in the first place. And she says, yeah, maybe I'm just tripping a bit. So I then begin to kiss her body again, just to take my fingers and place her pussy in riddles and whisper into her ear, thinking my tongue also knows how to play a fiddle. In the middle of my sympathy, she then grabbed my face and said, wait, I just don't want to ruin the experience. So with a river dripping on my lips, she then said, you see, I just don't want to think any less of you tomorrow. So what if you can have me right now for one night, or we can wait, you can have me for every day for the rest of your life. And I'm like, fuck, for the rest of my life? So I got real. Sugar, first off, why the hell you plan out the rest of my life? And I could leave right now, down in a car crash on the way home tonight, and I'm sure one thing I'll be thinking is, damn, I could at least went out with a bang. And I'm sure the thought of never seeing me again started to hit like we all really only had one chance here. So she didn't grab the back of my hand and said, fuck me like the star everyone says you are. And I'm like, damn, it's like she knows exactly what to say to get my dick hard. So I didn't grab the condom and put it on top of the yard, rip the top of the wrapper off and started to kiss her body again. And she starts to moan again. I just don't want to ruin the experience. Do you really think it's cool? I'm like, yeah, it's cool. She's like, well, I just want to be a fool. I'm like, yeah, me too. She's like, well, I don't usually. And I'm like, what's that, sugar? Fuck up the mood? And she's like, well, I just want to know what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm like, baby, the sun will come up. She's like, huh? I'm like, tomorrow. There's one thing I'm sure of, the sun will rise in the east. And so I told her, you know, I don't know what you've heard about me. I don't know what your girlfriends have said, or if you've done your own investigative work and come across some of my sex poems on the internet, but I seriously need to come clean with you. Now, if you heard some words like, I put her pussy in my mouth, with her coming in my mouth, or if you heard something like, I'll just take her legs and wrap around my back, walk around like I got her on like a backpack, slam it against the wall so her ass smacks, and put it on my face like she's a snack. Now, I don't know what you've heard about me, and it's probably pretty clear that I ain't big on waiting for sex till marriage, but I've been saving myself for you. Seriously, my exes should resist you. You said they kiss winter, what I've been saving for you, the pussy's gonna feel extremely neglected. Even though I often made sure it's extremely respected. Polished off like a trophy with my tongue. Made sure she go to a job and her co-workers to see her walk and they ask her what's wrong. They never heard me say I'm tired. If anything, I fuck her too long. Fuck her like my favorite words to hear me say was that a pussy needs a few days to recuperate. Fuck her like I can't wait. Jump your ass back on the train. Fuck them like it's not humane. I could care less about my neighbors. Fuck her till the police station hears her saying my name. Yes, I did it. I tortured the hell out her clitters. You want proof? I got pictures. She ain't saying shit. Well, then maybe it's because I fucked the English out of her. You better get a translator, someone that knows how to speak gibberish. Shorty, I admit it. For not 1 second when I excuse myself here. Even the Lord knows I'll probably burn the second I walk in the church surrounded by a bunch of virgins. But whatever you've heard, I know there's a lot I've done in my past, but trust, comparing yourself to them, it's almost like I was abstinence. And I want to tell you so bad. I want to whisper in your ears the type of things your father would hate me for. To know all the naughty little things I'm going to do to his daughter. Baby, I don't care how many times you tell him I'm a spoken word artist. He's going to think you're dating a porn star. And your mother, well, she's going to think you make such a lovely decision. I've been saving myself for you. Things we can do, riddles I can put my tongue in. Baby, you have no other reason but to look at all the raunchy sex poems as cute. And my prior women, minute. Or like an exercise I ran through just to prepare myself for you. I got a long list of things I want to do with you. Kama Sutra is so old-fashioned. We on to something new. Like, trying to think of ways of how we can have sex without our bodies. Just so you can be me while fucking you and know exactly what it feels like to be me while fucking you. I want to lose my gravity with you. Call me insane, but I've already done it on balconies. Now I want to do it while parachuting out of airplanes. I've saved myself for you. Things we can do, things I know, places we can go. Baby, your hands have been holding my future. And I don't know what you've heard about me. But trust, no one will have that but us. I like the line where I was like, I swear to God, like this chick asked me one night, this chick was like, what if you can have me right now for one day or the rest of your life? I swear to God, I was this close to being like, I'm cool with tonight. Alright, people who know me know I am not religious, like at all. Like, I can't really understand how people, when I tell them that, you know, they be like, oh, you don't believe in God? I'm like, where the fuck did you hear that from? I said, I'm not religious. Like, religion is the box that is created that tries to put God in. And religion is man-made. You know, so I don't get it. So in my meantime, like, I like to piss off preachers. We got any preachers in the house? Shit. But God builds universes. God builds constellations and galaxies, stars, planets, Milky Ways, and our good Earth. And the traces of His fingertips line underneath we leave our footprints on is undeniable. So people don't have to convince me to believe in God. That's obvious. What people need to convince me of is that the preacher holds himself to the same standards he gives you to live by. And you can come up with all kind of excuses for him, his infidelities or the car he drives, but what this really gets down to is you should be wondering who preachers give that 10% to. I mean, think about it. They get paid off the percentage they coax people into donating. And let's say they did put 10% of the money back into the church. Well, that would just be like some CEO taking money out of his own petty cash and putting it right back into his corporation. I guess preachers took this shit literally when they said give, you shall receive, right back to themselves. You see, if you study this shit closely, you see what preachers don't believe in God. They just believe in themselves. Some of them have a makeup artist, an agent, and a publicist. Really, I think they just want to be entertainers, break dancing on stage, rapping in their sermons, putting an echo and reverb on the word, but I just think you're stuttering. And yes, your church needs renovations. I think it should be burned down right away. Put a library up right in its place. People, you can compare God to a 5-year-old child that needs attention, and he wants things. And if he doesn't get it, he gets jealous and wrathful and will send your ass to hell for all of eternity for your sins. The same sins that preachers ironically tell you that you were already born with. I mean, people might as well worship Hitler if they're going to believe in a God like this. I wonder what Jesus would do with the $300 billion a year the Catholic Church brings in. Now, better yet, I wonder what he would say if you asked him if he was an American. I bet my life he'd say no. Half of you probably wouldn't even know what to do. Probably go seek out your preacher for approval. Actually, I feel sorry for him to believe God is this far from him. When are Jews, Muslims, and Christians going to realize that they've been killing each other over the same thing? They just been giving that God nicknames. If you truly embrace this idea of free will, it would cancel out your religion. Instead, it's destroyed nations, burned women at the stake, flown planes, hung men from trees, raped little girls on crusades. Now they're doing altar boys today, stuffed concentration camps for families, turned homeless men away, endorsed politicians for their own political gain, but got the audacity to ask you for donations. People, you want to talk to God? Just walk right outside your front door and sit your ass in the middle of your front lawn and talk to Him. Breathe Him in. Close your eyes. Just listen. It's rather simple. You don't have to do this in the temple. You see, people don't have to convince me they believe in God. That's obvious. What people need to convince me of is a good reason to keep preachers in business. Because from my point of view, God builds universes. God doesn't build churches. Men do. This is the last poem I'm going to end y'all with. But I want to say this before I get to my last poem. This is awesome. Life. The game of life is what we are all playing. And this is a game. And it's no win or lose. It's just a continuing game we play. I actually think that's the beauty in it, that there's no win or lose. What you are living in. 100 years ago, it made the first airplane. 100 years ago. First of all, it's fucking amazing to think that still some fucking metal can fly across the fucking sky. sky. Every time I'm on an airplane, I'm like, man, this is ridiculous. Like, I was flying over the ocean, coming to Hawaii, I was like, oh, I'm on some fucking metal. I'm flying over the ocean. This just doesn't seem right, but okay. I'm rolling with it, all right? 100 years ago, they made the first airplane. Like 70 years ago, we realized that our universe just wasn't our solar system and Milky Way with the Hubble telescope. We realized that there are billions of stars out there. Alright? 40 years ago, they went to the moon. They fucking went to the moon. They went to the fucking moon. What? 20 years ago, they created the internet. The internet. This shit is fucking mind about the fucking internet. You put anything on it, stays on there forever. What? 15 years ago, they cloned a sheep named Dolly. If they can clone a sheep, you know they can clone a human being. Whether they did or not, who knows, alright? But you know they can do it. What? They can clone shit? What? This shit is amazing. 10 years ago, we saw the towers fall. As horrific as that shit was, you lived through that. You lived through that. Everybody in here is like, I saw that shit on TV. I was living when that shit happened. That shit is fucking mind-blowing. You lived through some crazy shit. 4 years ago, we had the first black president. Something that a lot of blacks and whites didn't think that was going to happen. Ever. This shit is amazing. What's going to happen 2 years from now? What's going to happen 5 years from now? What's going to happen 10 years from now? You are living in the greatest fucking video game ever fucking made. It is called the game of life. Call of Duty, NBA Live ain't got shit on the game of life. This shit is amazing. Enjoy it. Experience it. The problems are bullshit. It's just entertainment for you to just forget how beautiful this shit is. It's just shit to distract you. Enjoy this video game because you all have had a piece in making it. This is the last poem that I'm going to end y'all with. I used to do a dialogue out of this, but I decided I wanted to turn it into a poem, and right now it's actually one of my favorite poems that I've written. I want to thank Kealoha. I want to thank Hawaii Slam. I want to thank his family. Oh my God, his family. Oh my God, man. I love your family so much. I want to thank Ms. Wong for not leaving during my set. Because I was like, oh God, I can't believe his mother's out here listening to me do this. But it's so good to be here. This is my last poem, and you guys have been great. Thank you very much. If you want any product, I'm just in the back. I got CDs up there and stuff like that. My website is marcmarcel.com, marcel.com. It has to get boring, knowing everything. Knowing every moment, every second, every possibility, every truth and lie, it has to get a little mundane. So maybe in order to experience something new again, God had to leave behind everything God can be and somehow train God's self to grow amnesia. So maybe the figments of God's imagination just broke itself down and separated its thought into entities and spread into species, some known as man, just to experience the feeling of not always getting what you want. So here I am, with a sick feeling thinking, but maybe I've been getting what I want. The beauty in my poems seems like it took men's lives and sacrifices for me over the years. And if I am all that I am, then I must have foreseen these types of things, but can't understand what type of comfort I had knowing that it led to this. So I keep pulling strangers aside just to remind myself from time to time who we really are by trying to tell them who I really am. Here, you've given me a name. When the flesh has just raped us of our identity like slaves. And I've tried to free myself in so many ways and so many lifetimes now that it's made it hard for me to trust myself when I see you. But I do. I still do. I know I exist before time. This is just something my insecurities created to give me some type of balance to live by. I used to be able to read hieroglyphics. Honestly, it's something I taught them. But somewhere along the way, I must have been reincarnated to misinterpret the writings I left for myself on the walls. And I'm tired of running from my problems. Religions have been spawned in honor of our name. Preachers blind those with the facts straight in front of their face. Worship men, call them prophets, become one slave. And I've tried to free you in so many ways. Come to you as teachers, homeless men, their mirror image, and even the ones you hate. Now you choose to see me on stages, speaking in languages that in time will only grow outdated. Telling you things like this poem is what you were meant to hear, only because you created it. Maybe I'm the figment of your imagination. Wouldn't that just be perfect? And the last thing we ever wanted to be was perfect. But this is something I've been trying to remember. Maybe we can figure out together this thing we created called dreams. It's just so that it seems to be the closest thing I had to remind me of where I'm from. Life tends to be the most complex maze I've ever tried to escape from. You want to know who I am? If it helps, I say the poem again. But you must have forgotten who you are. Maybe we missed our star. Maybe we're left behind and the guilt just ripped me apart. You see, I ain't never needed no one to ever tell me when I was wrong. Because I can feel you in my heart. Maybe that's why karma's so relevant. Because I know we've seen each other before we were left in parts. Where we could come together as thought, as light, as vibration, as sound. If you listen, you hear all of us eavesdropping in on your conversations. Some of your thoughts have been so beautiful. Some of them are filled with nothing but pain. Some of them so powerful they could bring this whole world to a change. You want to know who I am? Just tell me you remember, no matter how long it's been. I know of a place before time was made, when we were one and the same. And the stars were something we created. And the greatest gift we can ever give ourselves is to touch, is to love, is to question, and to comprehend. And you already know who I am, because I've already said the poem again. And I will, again, and again, and again, and again. Thank y'all. Y'all been dope.
His name is Marc Marcel. And you can get his CDs and
I know they give me respect, even before walking the venue, they see it's tatted on my neck.
Mark My Words Productions.